Hello and welcome to the recap of day two in the Ashley Benefield trial. And if I had troubles after day one figuring out what happened in this trial, day two didn't help me because, again, the state's opening kind of implied that Ashley did it because she wanted to be a single mom, which you can be very easily without putting holes in your husband. You can just accept the divorce he was suing for. But we started out with her mom. Why she was on the stand, I I couldn't tell you. She told us that she and Ashley was moving to Maryland to move into her mom's house because she had passed away. They were going to start a new life. Doc was also moving to Maryland because he had found his dream job. She had no conversations with Ashley about this case. Bye. That's that's her testimony. It took no time. The next one was a therapist who had worked with Ashley, and Ashley had moved into her house. We heard about that in a pretrial motion where they wanted to take away uh, doctor patient privileges, but she could testify. Yes, she had talks with Ashley, and the state started to do those little shady things where they tried to sneak one or two little things in there that they weren't allowed to do. There was a lot of sidebars yesterday. It really turned into a sidebar show, and again, that therapist couldn't tell us anything. She had client patient client doctor patient privilege, and it was a big nothing burger. Then we got into two people who were kind of relevant, people who worked with child protection services and the DV department. And the DV guy told a story where you could kind of say she acted like I would suspect a victim would act. She had a restraining order against him in South Carolina where they lived before. Then, while she was pregnant and living with her mom, she called this officer, Officer Gillum, and said, "Arrest him. He sent me a package. He's not allowed to do that." He said she was acting in a way he never ever had anyone act in front of him before. He She went from being crying to being aggressive. She wanted him to show up in court, arrest him in front of the judge, because if the judge saw him being arrested, there was no way she would lose the case. And he had a weird demeanor, but again, it really didn't have anything to do with why it happened. We also had Doc's former divorce lawyer, and she was a piece of work, in my opinion. She she couldn't stop telling stories, simple yes or no questions. She really tried to get all the bad stuff about Ashley into every answer. The state really wanted her to say all the bad stuff. The defense really wanted not to get all of it in there. It turned into a sidebar show, as I said, constantly objecting, constantly reminding her, yes or no answers, please. And she just kept on talking. She told a different story that Doc tried to get back with Ashley. He was way too friendly with her. the defense tried to get her to talk, which they weren't allowed to, about all the bad things. We know that Doc allegedly punched a dog so it passed out, took that pew pew to the ceiling. All of those things they weren't allowed to talk about. But she had, from the state, been told that the state believed Ashley did this to make sure a evaluation of her and Doc wouldn't be released. There was a lot of talk about if this lawyer misrepresented facts, because the defense believes that the hearing they were having 3 days after the incident happened had nothing to do with this report. It was only to talk about prior motions. This lawyer kept saying it had to do with the report, and she was told by the defense or by the state that that's their theory, is Ashley didn't want the report out there. But why would it keep the report from coming out? And again, she seemed very, very partial to Doc in a way where I'm thinking, yeah, you used to be his lawyer, but you seem very invested in this case. She said she had gotten all of the transcripts from the case, all the evidence in the case, as much as she could have. Why? She had meetings with the state. Of course, she can have that, talk about her testimony. But why did they put out their trial strategy to her? Again, she seemed way too invested in a case where she only used to take care of his divorce. There was some talks about him uh, not understanding that he had a restraining order against her because, well, he didn't understand it when the court said that. Well, that's not how it works. If there is a ruling that he should stay away, no matter if you understand it or not, the law is the law. You can't contact her. But it turned again a sidebar show. It was very, very hostile yesterday in court. The guy who made the report that she allegedly unalived Doc to keep out of uh, the public knowledge, is he took the stand, said, well, Ashley and Doc had, Ashley to him private said, I don't want to be with him. When Doc was there, Doc was, well, we're going to figure it out. We're going to be back together. And she was just stringing him along, saying, yeah, let's talk about that later. Maybe later we'll talk about that. Again, something I would say isn't totally weird to me. If you might be afraid of him, might be feeling that you were in a controlled relationship, that you'll say, yeah, honey, we'll figure it out. There was no, because the state also put it up there like she strung him along by saying, yes, in Maryland we'll live together. Yes, we're going to find each other again. None of it was proven with the witnesses the state brought. And to me, I don't understand where the state is going with any of this, because all the witnesses they have, except that divorce lawyer, were all kind of like, yeah, she acted weird, but you could, in my opinion, I haven't been a woman in a DV, you could kind of believe if she was scared. I think the state probably made more points with the jury yesterday than they did on day one. But to me, they still haven't proven that she wasn't afraid of Doc when this happened. Because what we have heard about him so far, and there was a lot of contention yesterday. Uh, again, we know more than the jury does because we have watched the pretrial hearings. We have heard all the stuff, doing all the sidebars. But what we have heard so far, I think both of them are a-holes. I don't think she's good, he's bad, or the other way around. I think both of them were playing each other kind of in a way. maybe she used the divorce system to get some head get ahead of him in the child case. The worst part was the last witness, another therapist who knew both Doug and Ashley, and the defense tried to get into Doug's if Doug showed any signs of being a person who would do DV. And while they were asking about that, he wanted to go into the pew-pewing. And there was an objection. It was ruled upon, and the defense lawyer and the witness kind of um, like, yeah, this is weird. I can't talk about it. And the defense lawyer said, yeah, you don't know. The jury was sent out. The defense lawyer was berated because it was clearly a comment on the judge. So I don't think he made himself any favors yesterday. I'm 2 days in. Normally, we would have that kind of progression where you can see, okay, this is where the state is going. I can't see that because their witnesses aren't as strong as I think they believe they are, in my opinion. But again, it's up to the jury. Do they see that she was a manipulative B word who just took him for his money and lied to him? Which I don't think there's no proof of any money because he didn't have any. Or do they see him as a guy who maybe have physically, emotionally abused her? We we know about the gunshot to the roof. We know about him punching holes in walls. Will we get more of that in? I, I don't know. Allegedly, the state will rest today. Defense will start their story. There was motions to dismiss yesterday. There will be motions to dismiss again today, which they should do because it's always good for appeal. But this has turned into kind of a farce, which is bad in a case where a woman could go away for a very long time. But the only way to figure out what's happening is to join us again today at around 9 a.m. Thank you for watching.